You can
Very
listen to the
close.
morning one where we did this activity. I'm pretty sure that one got recorded, so.
A lot of it didn't.
Yeah. So, part B. So, you remember in lesson 3 when we had these little pictures of activities and what Mary habitually does? Now we're taking the same kind of concept and turning it into what she did in the past, right? So what she did this past Monday, this past Tuesday, Wednesday, last Thursday, things like that, right? Okay, so let's start by kind of mapping the structure of these kinds of sentences. So we're going to start with, okay, so Mary-san wa, right? And then the second piece they're giving you is a time phrase, right? So for example, doyobi, ni, right? For example. And I'm not going to use what they're showing. I'm just going to do my own. So doyobi ni, and then let's see, different color.
That is
And
the
let's-
water pass.
Nasuto nande. Sushi o tabemashita. Okay, so I color coded it so we can easily see the components, right? So we've got person, wa, day of the week or other time phrase, ni, right? Location, de, place that you can do an activity, de, and then object, o, and then verb. And all you have to change from the format we already knew is that the verb is now in past tense instead of present tense. And that immediately changes it from she habitually eats sushi at a restaurant on Saturdays to this past Saturday she ate sushi at a restaurant. You see how all you had to do was change the shima tabemasu to tabemashita, and it completely changed the sentence that much. You get it? So that's all. That's all we're doing here. So you're going to be using that same basic format to make sentences about these pictures. Okay. Hi.
Where's the best place to squeeze in the frequency? Is it just like right before
Ah. Okay. Now, because this is past tense, this is probably just a one-time thing,
Yeah.
right? Do you
Well,
see
like,
that?
It's like you
I feel
used to
like
do
you used to.
something.
Yeah.
Like
Like
you
Yeah,
used to
Yogi
smoke
restaurant
every
de
day.
sushi wo.
I was thinking of that exact same example for some reason.
Yeah, okay, so Mary-san wa mae, in the past, before, okay, 毎日土曜日にレストランで寿司を食べました. So in the past, no, well, 毎日 doesn't work there. Or 毎土曜日, yeah, 毎週の土曜日, or よく, yeah, so you could still put a frequency adverb in here. Mary-san wa よく土曜日にレストランで寿司を食べました. Yeah, then that would be like a past tense. She used to frequently eat sushi at a restaurant on a Saturday. And maybe she no longer does that because she spent all her money on sushi. Right?
Where would you put another person's name, like if they were meeting someone?
Okay, let's say she ate her sushi at the restaurant on Saturday with Ken. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Paying
you-
stuff.
yeah, so you could,
You're the guy.
so Mary-san wa Ken-san to. I'm writing Ken in hiragana like it's a Japanese person's name, but Ken could be in katakana if it's somebody who's not Japanese, or it could be if we're talking about like Kenji, is a typical Japanese name, but Ken could be his nickname. So that's one of those names that works in both languages. It's kind of cool.
Pretty big deal.
Yeah. So Ken-san to 土曜日にレストランで寿司を食べました。So she ate sushi at a restaurant on Saturday with Ken. So that's another possibility. You can put that right in after the wa, and it's still kind of part of the subject-ish stuff. If you were putting a frequency adverb, you could put that in here. So Mary-san wa, and it could kind of go either way. Yoku Ken-san to 土曜日にレストランで寿司を食べました。She used to frequently eat sushi at restaurants on Saturdays with Ken, back when they were still dating.
Gosh, Ken, what did you do?
Right. So, but do you see how, who somebody did something with and the frequency adverb are both pieces that can be components that actually move to different points. I mean, you could just as well say, Mary-san wa yoku 土曜日に Ken-san to レストランで寿司を食べました。Okay, so you can move any of these units. Basically, this counts as a unit, this counts as a unit, and then any of the other pieces that are a different color from everything else count as a unit. The only thing that has to always be at the end, closest to the period, is the verb. Everything else is somewhat relocatable. Okay? Most of the time, the subject and the time phrases are at the beginning of the sentence, but there's some leeway there as long as your unit sticks together. Okay? The noun plus the particle have to stick together as a unit. They can move as a unit. So if you really wanted to, you could say 土曜日にメリーさんはレストランで寿司を食べました. If you're changing your emphasis, you can do that. If you wanted to say 土曜日にレストランでメリーさんはケンさんと寿司を食べました kind of puts a little bit more emphasis on like, ooh, scandal. She ate with Ken that day. She's cheating on Kenji or something. I don't know.
Cheating on Kenji with kimchi.
Yeah.
Same name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kenichi and Kenji are two different Japanese names that both have Ken in them. But anyway, but you get my point? Any of these pieces that is a unit can shift location if you really wanted to. This is sort of a typical order to use. But if you want to take the restaurant debt unit and move it closer to one end or the other end, you can.
So if
Hi.
you take like yoku and put it right after the O particle?
Yeah, 土曜日にレストランで寿司をよく食べました. She used to really frequently do that.
Oh, so it's like more emphasis?
Yeah, whatever's closer to tabemashita is going to be more emphasized.
Okay.
So when you leave it in the natural order, it's sort of neutral, not a lot of emphasis on anything in particular. Anytime you take one unit and move it closer to the verb than it normally would be, you're giving that unit more emphasis. So for example, sushi o restaurant de tabemashita. You're putting more emphasis on the fact that she ate sushi at a restaurant as opposed to eating it at home where she might make it herself sometimes. Okay? If you put the 土曜日に over here, レストランで寿司を土曜日に食べました. You're putting more emphasis on the fact that she ate it on Saturday, whereas maybe she normally goes to that restaurant for sushi on Friday or something. Okay? But the main things to know about word order in Japanese is that you have to have the verb at the end. And you have to have each piece, each noun with its required particle that makes sense. If you move the sushi without the o, then you start sounding weird. Because she did not eat the restaurant, she ate the sushi, right? So if you start swapping particles around and saying, you know, like sushi de restaurant o tabemashita, she ate the restaurant at the sushi, that doesn't make a lot of sense, you know? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, if you hear a Japanese person mangling their word order and putting the particles in the wrong places, they've probably had way too much sake. I don't know that Japanese people would ever even do that because the particle usage is so ingrained for them that using the wrong ones in the wrong places, I can't even imagine that happening. You know, but does that make sense though? Does everybody kind of see how the word order works? So in general, if I were to give it a typical order, I would say subject, time, place, object, verb would be a sort of typical word order. Yeah. Sorry, that's not very pronounceable, but Stapov. Okay, but generally, subject, then time, then place, then object, then verb is a sort of typical word order, but like I said, as long as this is stationary, everything else is somewhat flexible. But you do have to keep the proper particle with each part so that you're not accidentally saying that she ate the Saturday at the restaurant, you know, in the sushi.
That's
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah, I mean, you can really mangle these sentences if you put the particles in the wrong places. You
I
know?
feel like I just want to do that, like a children's book just to mess with kids' brains.
It'd be like those magnets you put on the
Yeah,
fridge, you like mix them up.
Yeah, oh yeah, I had students in high school years ago who used to deliberately come up with sentences like, you know, the boy ate his grandmother just because they were playing around with nonsense, you know, or, you know, the sushi ate the grandmother, or, you know, all kinds of craziness.
So it's like dropping the comma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but, you know, so
The kid
anyway.
likes eating his
Let-
grandmother.
I'd like
And
for us
his
to
dog.
at least get through a couple more of these activities. We are now falling behind what my morning class did because of all this
It's my
talking.
fault.
So, yeah, it's all your fault, Brandon.
I agree. It's always.
Okay, so let's start by letting Sierra read the example sentence.
Yes.
And then we'll come full circle.
メアリーさんは月曜日図書館で勉強しました。
はい
しました。
Hi, so she studied at the library on Monday, right? Okay, 1番。
メアリさんは火曜日にうちで手紙
Yeah, 手紙。
を書きました。
はい、書きました。じゃあ2番さん。
メアリさんは水曜日
はい。
に学校
はい、学校。
学校でテニスをしました。
はい、そうですね。はい。
メアリーさんは土曜日に木曜日に
はい。
喫茶店でたけしさんを会いました。
たけしさんに会いました。Or if you wanted to, you could say, since they seem to be talking, You could say, Takeshi-san to hanashimashita. That also works. Right. Vasani-san?
メアリーさんは金曜日に友達の家でカレ
Okay.
ーを食べました。
はい、カレーを食べました. That works. You know, somebody else might have done ご飯を食べました or whatever, but that definitely works. はい。じゃあ5番。
みやりさんは土曜日に京都で映画を見ました。
はい、見ました。はい。
みやりさんは日曜日にみやりさんは日曜日にデパートで Is it me?
Yeah, departo de is correct.
Sorry.
Departo de. And then
みやりさんは日曜日にデパートで買い
mono.
買い物
買い物。
をis it just 買い物です
買い物をしました。It actually takes the verb する。買い物をする。So 買い物をしました。
That's what I was
said like 買いました What do you mean for
買い物を買いました
Or,
is
no, I
sounds
mean,
weird.
you dropped the 買い物
Well, if you use 買いました, normally it takes an object. It sounds
Okay.
odd to
So-
just say
so
she
you-
bought
so you do
without
Yeah,
saying she
okay,
bought
okay.
something.
Yeah.
So,
I shopped for shopping.
yeah, so 買い物をしました works there. Or if you wanted to say, for example,
so she did shopping
that
yes.
yeah, so she did shopping. Or if you prefer, you could do something along the lines of お土産を買いました. She bought souvenirs. We don't know what's in her bags, but if you want to assume that they're souvenirs, that's one of the few words we know that 買いました would work on here.
カバンを買いました。
カバンを買いました. There you go.
What about
Or-
like if you go shopping like
Yeah.
or
They don't use the 買い物に行きます doesn't work. 買い物をします is the verb.
What's the
Okay,
word for
so-
stuff?
We haven't studied it yet, but you could do something like いろいろ買いました, which is like various things. いろいろ、いろいろ、いろいろ、
That
い
sounds
ろい
scary.
ろ買いました.
I got some
Various
things.
Yeah, it's actually the word for color repeated twice. So it's like she bought colorful stuff. You know,
That's
various
even
colors of things.
worse.
But it really just means various. Okay, but
Yeah.
yuroro kaimashita is like she bought a variety of things.
What was the
Would it be
kanji
two
for
different
miscellaneous?
That, it's like miscellaneous. yeah.
So was that in the magazine, the kanji for miscellaneous, would that work, or?
so
I don't know that would,
Okay.
Zashi has the kanji for miscellaneous in it?
What wasn't it Zashi that had miscellaneous? What wasn't?
I don't remember
I,
that.
I was looking it up in the lesson, I can't remember which was which, but was that the one for miscellaneous, or?
I don't know, I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
I read it somewhere.
Okay, so anyway, so before we run out of time, let's try to do at least C. The other class got finished with D also. I'm not gonna make it that
We'll beat
far.
them on Tuesday.
Okay. So let's let Chantal-san, right? Yeah. So let's have actually Chantal and Sarah do the Q&A for that first example.
Let's do it. メリさんは月曜日に図書館で勉強しました。
しましたか?
ましたか
Hi, you're having a hard time with that one. 勉強しましたか?
Did Mary study?
Yeah, so did Mary study at the library on Monday? And the answer
はい、
was?
勉強しました。
Hi. So notice that in your answer, you can just pair "はい" with the verb. はい、勉強しました. You don't have to repeat back the whole sentence, unless you really, really want to. Okay, I'm gonna let Kiara-san and Julian-san do the second example there.
メリーさんは月曜日に映画を見ましたか？
いいえ、見ませんでした。
Notice that because the day is wrong, the whole answer is negative. Do you see that? いえ、見ませんでした. Did she watch a movie on Monday? No, she didn't. Is basically the equivalent, okay? じゃあ、ジュリアンさんとキムさん let's see if we can get through at least the rest of this exercise.
メアリーさんは火曜日に音楽を聴きましたか？
はい。Okay, so referencing part B,
That's
pictures.
Tuesday and music, right? So
Yes.
no. Ie, kikimasen deshita.
はい、いいですね。じゃあ、you're asking
Oh,
about
Meari-san wa suiyobi ni tegami o kakimashita ka?
いいえ、書きませんでした。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ3番。
メアリーさんは木曜日に日本人の友達に会いましたか？
はい、会いました。
はい、そうですね。じゃあ4番。
メアリーさんは金曜日にお寺に行きましたか？
いえ、行きませんでした。
はい、いいですね。
メアリーさんは土曜日にテニスをしましたか？
いえ、everyone, sorry. いえ、しませんでした。
There you go. いいえ、しませんでした。はい、はい、どうぞ。
宮城さんは日曜日に買い物をしましたか？
はい、買い物をしましたか？
はい、しました。
はい、しました。いいですね。Any questions about those?
No.
Okay, we've still got a few minutes left. You want to try to squeeze in some of these? Let's try. Okay, so Chantal-san to Kiara-san, you get to do Q&A.
メリーさんは月曜日に何をしましたか？
図書館で勉強しました。
Hi, so notice that these are the open-ended questions with question words. And based on what the question word is, you need to give the answer for the piece that it's asking about. So you don't have to repeat the time phrase because that was in the question, but where she did and what she did is needed in this answer because it was nani o shimashita ka, right? So, Shiana-san, 1番どうぞ。
メリーさんは水曜日に何をしましたか？
So what did she do
学
on
校
Wednesday?
でテニスをしました。
はい、
しました
いいですね。学校でテニスをしました。じゃあ2番。
メアリーさんは火曜日に何をしましたか？
And Kobe's Tuesday, so, oh no. Give me a pretty, okay, so kaki. So, Meri-san wa uchi de kaki mashita.
Okay, but what did she write?
Oh, a letter.
Yeah.
So letter was, yeah,
Yeah,
Tegami. Okay, so Meri-san wa uchi de Tegami o, oh gosh, kakimashita.
はい、そうで
Thank
す。はい、okay. I think we can do one more. はい、last
Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. That's me. Mary-san wa itsu, excuse me, itsu eiga o mimashita ka?
土曜日に映画を見ました。
はい、土曜日に見ました or 土曜日に映画を見ました。いいですね。
And I had a brain fart when I read that, and I went, what does that mean? And I went,
Itsu
oh,
was
wait.
Do you
when,
guys
right?
want to just
Yeah.
finish the
Yeah.
last couple? How many people have somewhere else they have to go right away?
No, I'm fine.
I have like 15
Okay.
minutes.
You've got a couple minutes?
Yeah.
If you need to leave, you can go, but if other people want to finish the last few, we can. Dozo.
メアリーさんはいつ買い物をしましたか？
日曜日にしました。
はい、that works. どうぞ。
メアリーさんは金曜日にどこで晩ご飯を食べましたか？
友達のうちで、
Okay, 友達のうちで食べました。
はい、友達のうちで食べました。Okay, last one here.
メアリーさんは木曜日にどこで友達に会いましたか？
One sec. Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
メアリーさんは木曜日にどこで友達に会いましたか？
Let's say Kisuten.
Yes.
Is it just Kisuten? Or?
喫茶店で、
Oh.
yeah, at the coffee shop, right? And then the verb. Those are the most important parts.
Yeah.
喫茶店で、yeah, if you want to keep that part in, you can. 喫茶店で、
Kisuten de tomodachi ni arimashita.
会いました。はい。
Is it arimashita?
はい、会いました。
Oh, it is.
喫茶店で会いました or 喫茶店で友達に会いました. Either variation of that is fine. Okay, so for homework, try to get some sample sentences like those done about living your own life. And in class, we will start with that exercise E where you guys ask each other questions about what you did in the past, and you guys will get to just free-form answer however you want.
Was there a change to an assignment I saw in the Japanese, or was that something old on the canvas? Or
I changed something,
I'll read it.
but
I'll read
it, I don't remember now what it was. It
Okay.
wasn't anything like you had to bring something for today or anything like that, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Could I provide something to add to like the stack of stuff in the learning lab?
Sure, what have you got?